in concept. You ever have a video that you started, you have something from way back yonder, post your shit. That's what I'm just trying to say. Post your stuff. Even if it's old, post it anyway. Okay, because that's what I'm doing today.
Afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank the Coalition for Homelessness for inviting me to be here today and allowing me the honor of speaking as an alumna of the first program. Standing here today at the Plaza, speaking to all of you is something that a few years ago I would not have imagined for myself. Life has a way of taking you places you never expected. Sometimes those places are exciting, like here, and sometimes those places are difficult. There was a time when I was working for Loose Technology. My husband and I had an apartment, we were raising a family, we had good salaries, 2 cars, making mac and cheese for the kids after school, checking homework, etc. We were basically living the American dream. And so when I entered the shelter in the Bronx, I kept asking myself, what happened? How did I get here? And many years ago, in the blink of an eye, things changed. I was laid off, the financial strain highlighted the relationship problems, and I needed to leave my husband in order to stay safe. In 2014, I was living on my own with 2 kids. I was trying to support us by driving for Uber while trying to find a better job. But driving for Uber is expensive, and we were struggling. My sister also was experiencing a lot of health and financial problems, so I was also trying to help support her household financially. Because I couldn't support us both, I invited her to move in with me. In 2018, she had a stroke and passed away literally in my arms. You don't realize someone is your anchor until you lose them and you feel your foundation is gone. I couldn't stay in a house where she had died anymore. I tried to reunite with my husband thinking, maybe if I worked harder, I could make us work. But when he threatened me, I knew I had to take my kids and get us out of there. So we moved into an extended stay hotel. Everyone at some stage of the game deals with mental health issues. If you lived through any of the past traumas that's going on, I can almost guarantee you that your mental health took a hit. And so I knew I wasn't well at that point. I could tell that there was a problem, but I didn't know how to deal with it. I was raised to be strong. After telling some friends, I think I need help, I was told, girl, you strong. Stop talking that weak stuff. You good. But I was drowning, I was overwhelmed, and I felt like everything I was doing was making my kids' life worse. I felt like I was the problem, that they would be better off if I were not here. And so on October 18th of 2019, I tried to take my own life. I was held in the hospital for 7 days, and I was barred from being with my children. My husband took custody of our daughter, who was 12 at the time, and my son, who was 17, moved into the foster care until he turned 18. When I got out of the hospital, I continued driving for Uber and bouncing between extended hotels and sleeping in my car. Then COVID hit, and people stayed home with their families, and I stayed where I was, alone. And to be honest about that time, there were days of insecurity, days of depression, days when I didn't even want to get up, when moving forward, eating, showering, doing anything at all was unimaginable. When everything felt that heavy, even the smallest tasks felt impossible. But I had to make a decision. And a friend told me about a women's shelter in the Bronx. So I got up, got on the train, and I went. I found myself trying to figure out how to rebuild, how to move forward after things had fallen apart so terribly. And when you're in that place, the future can feel like a foreign thing. I felt like that was something for other people, a faraway place that's hard to think about, much less plan for. You're not thinking about big events or long-term plans. Most of the time, you're just trying to make it through the day. Sometimes you're just trying to make sure you can get up the next morning and keep going. When things felt that bleak, looked bleak, I had to remind myself that there were people in situations even more difficult than mine who were still getting up every day. And so I told myself, if they can get up, I can too. And I did. Some days were better than others. Some days I was moving forward with energy, determination, and a strong cup of coffee. And some days I was barely moving. But I was moving nonetheless. And that is what is important, because I realized something during that time. I had an obligation to live my best life. And I wanted and needed to have safe housing for me and my daughter. And I knew I couldn't do it lying in the bed. I also had an opportunity to prove to myself and to women in similar situations, and to my children, that when life doesn't go according to plan, and you know it won't, you can get back up. You can rebuild. That's why programs like First Up matter so much, because they meet people right where they are. It was in the shelter that I saw the flyer for the first time, a job training program. I didn't know what it was, but I decided to call. When I first started the program, I'll be honest, there were days when it was hard to get there. Days when transportation was a challenge. Days when life outside the classroom was demanding attention. Days when motivation was a little low and the goal was very far away. But I kept showing up. Little by little, things began to change. Even though I had administrative skills, I had been driving for Uber for 7 years, and my skills were rusty. Technology moves so fast. And there were new programs I had never heard of, like, what is Google Docs? What is Salesforce? Our teacher, Corey, broke it down, made it make sense, and tolerated my nonsense. The material that seemed difficult became understandable. The routine became discipline. The idea that I might actually be able to rebuild something meaningful in my life started to feel possible again. That's the quiet power of the First Step program. It's not just about professional skills. It's about restoring momentum. It's like, I liked having that access to a case manager. I was surprised that the First Step program made someone available to support me in things I was going through outside of the class. Sometimes when it's in your head, you can't seem to find your way through it. Just talking about it with a supportive person helped me to see problems more clearly and find solutions on my own. They reminded me that I'm still capable. I'm still valuable. I'm still able to contribute something meaningful to the world. For me, the program shifted my mindset from simply surviving to starting thinking about rebuilding again. And that's that powerful transition. Because when people regain belief in themselves, everything changes, everything opens up. Opportunities, confidence, direction. After graduation, the job search was a little discouraging. These grades are real. My confidence ebbed and flowed, but eventually I found an internship at Garden Resource Center. And now I'm proud to say that I'm a full-time case manager there. Encouragement and help they need to find their direction. Sometimes my own experiences help to offer guidance and support. I am proud, so proud, that I'm able to help the people. That I can support I can support and advocate through education. I help my clients realize that you don't have to stay in the situation you are in. You're here now, but you're going to keep going. You're going to move through this. After I became employed, I was able to qualify for a city housing voucher. And soon after, I was able to move into my own apartment, and it was the best feeling in the world. I made my apartment into a safe and stable home, and my daughter moved in on the day she turned 18. Yeah! When she moved in, it was unreal. I'm so lucky she's here. And I'm proud that I can make sure that she doesn't have to worry about anything. Food, rent, lights, nothing. I felt I had accomplished what I was working towards. Today I stand here not just as someone who completed the program, but as someone who continues to grow from the foundation that helped create. What I value most about that growth is that it doesn't just impact me, but it also allows me to be a role model for other women who may be going through a difficult season of their own. Every day I'm reminded how important programs like First Step are, because stability is not something people achieve overnight. It takes time, it takes support, it takes people who believe that investing in others is worth it. That belief is what fills this room today. The supporters, the partners, and advocates who understand that when you invest in people, the impact goes far beyond that one individual. It reaches families, it reaches communities, and it creates a ripple effect of change. It's about giving people the chance to take that first step, and then the next one, and then the one after that. And sometimes that first step is simply stepping into a classroom and deciding that you're not finished yet.
Period.